Okay, so first question, what that I have completed till now. First one is, what is the advantage of UVM? Can you tell me, if we have already SV, then why we are moving to UVM? Can you figure out 2-3 points? Advantage of UVM? Hello?
1 second, only 1 second.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Advantages of UVM. Okay, so it makes our test bench more like what we say scalable
Okay.
and
More reusable.
more reusable. And other thing is like we can it need to recompile all the code if we change some component. Just it will just what we say uh, just change that part component only for
Okay.
and run the simulation.
Okay, you have to tell all other the things like phase concept, factory concept, config DB, copy, clone, all those methods that are in the UVM. These are all the advantages of UVM, right? Callback.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next question is, what are the components of a UVM environment? What are the components? First, sequence item, then sequence. These two are objects, then sequencer, then driver, then monitor, then agent, scoreboard, environment, test, next stop. Right? You have to remember there with the diagram.
The thing that I told, like we can swap the components without changing the without like it won't recompile again.
Hierarchical
So
path, yes.
what we call it?
That is without changing the hierarchical path, that is factory overriding. Factory concept, na? Factory overriding. Okay. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Could you repeat what is config DB?
I will tell. Okay, so config DB means, okay, let's just take an example of an UVM environment. Sorry, interface. Interface, it is shared by monitor as well as driver. Okay, so in the SV we are passing it through the default constructor, through the constructor. But here what we will do, instead of passing it through the constructor, we can set it in a top class above driver or monitor. That can be an agent, that can be an environment, that can be a test, that can be a top. It's up to you, because all these classes are above the driver and monitor. So we can set it inside the top of above driver. Next, we can get it. This whole procedure is like config
You
DB.
said like we in SystemVerilog we are passing it through the constructor, means we are passing the interface through the new function, right?
New argument, yes. We were passing it, so the driver and monitor will be sharing the same interface. Okay. So now, but what can we do in the here we can set it in the top class and we can get it. Okay. So what is the advantage of these things? Let your design have 3 to 4 interfaces. So always you cannot pass those interfaces through a constructor. Your code will become more clumsy. So instead of passing through the constructor, you can store those things. Config DB means configuration database. It is like a database. So you can store those things in a top class, and if from the bottom class, you can get those things. It will look like this. This is one top class. In this class, if I am storing anything using set method, set, ACT set method, then let here it is a class, here it is another class, it is one class, here it is another class, this is one class. So all these classes, this class, or this class can use those things using get method. So you just have to set here and you can get here or here or here. Let you are setting some values. It can be integer, it can be object, it can be interface, it can be queue, anything. Let you are setting it here. Then you can get it only here. Not here.
Then we have to define every time that function get in the
No.
below
Only,
classes, or
no, only in the top class using set method you have to define it.
okay, and the below classes will automatically take it through that.
Using get method, they can take it.
No, then we don't have to define get method. They already have that, right?
No. You have to write get method. Na? Let here 5 values are stored. Now, which values you want to get here? You don't want to get all 5 values. Let you want to get just 3 values. So you have to use get method 3 times.
Okay, but one thing, like in the test, I want to change something. Right?
You can change it only in the test. It will be visible to all values.
Okay, let's suppose I am passing something like I am changing the packet through test, right? I am injecting some error packet through test.
Okay.
So I have to go to that driver and sequence and tell that you have to get that packet.
Okay.
Is it?
No. Whatever you are saying, that is a different concept. It can be a factory overriding or it can be UVM callback. Whatever you are saying, you have already one test classes. Test class, you are doing some normal test. Now you want to inject error and test your design, right?
Design.
Okay,
yes.
So now here, okay, instead of let your the second one is your error test and first one is your simple test classes. Now you want to replace the error test. Instead of simple test, you have to run the error test. So there you can use UVM callback method or factory overriding. If you are using factory overriding, then instead of normal test classes, it will replace it by error test class. So whatever the logic you have written in error test, according to that, your program will go on. And another is UVM callback. Through that also you can achieve same thing. You got my point?
I didn't understand what is the point of config DB then.
See, here what you're saying, you are replacing total class, total object. Now let inside, just think of an interface. Now interface, it should be shared by driver and monitor. It is not like I am replacing the interface 1 with interface 2. Already there is one interface. That interface should be used by driver 1 as well as driver 2. So I can store it let in the environment class. So below environment class, I have monitor as well as I have driver. So both driver and monitor can access the interface that I have stored in the environment. Let there is some count is equal to 20. You want to run the randomization, okay, 20 times in the driver in the monitor. You can declare that count as a static member, or you can use it, or simple you can store that count value in the environment. Now in the environment you have stored count equal to 20. So whenever driver and monitor, they will get the count value, they will get it as a 20. Let you want, no, it should not be 20, it should be 50. So you just have to go to the environment and change the counter value 20 to 50. So whatever the driver and monitor will get, they will get count equal to 50.
Okay.
It is just like you are
Suppose
storing
there is.
in something in a database. Okay. That can be an object, that can be an interface, that can be any data type. You are simply storing it and you are using it. And
Okay.
factory
Suppose
overriding
in
means,
this.
tell me.
Suppose in the starting I don't have a I have declared a variable in the driver or in the sequence. Let's say
Okay. Okay.
I have declared a variable in the sequence, and from the test I want to change it. Then what it will be called?
Okay.
Like how
See, a
will I change?
sequence, it is like a object. This config DB, it is for the component. Okay, I will be discussing what is the object and what is the component. Okay.
And let's say it's a driver. Like I have declared a variable in the driver.
Huh. Huh.
So how will I change it through my test?
See, that's what I'm saying. Let you have one variable count.
Okay.
Now in the test, using set method, you set count equal to 10. Now your requirement is now in the driver, you get count value equal to 10. Now you want that, okay, I don't want this count value should be 10. I want that this count value should be 50, should be 60. Then go to test and change this count value to 50. Automatically in the driver, it will get count equal to 50.
But I have not declared any get function in the driver
No, you have to declare get method.
for every variable.
For every variable. This one, okay. Now see here. See, I am not this one. Config DB here. See, this is like a database. Here I can store the values. Okay, now see, this is one interface. Using this UVM config DB, I am storing this virtual interface. Set this interface name is INTF. It is my actual name. I am storing it with a dummy name, this name. So how it is stored? This is the dummy name. This is the actual name. Now, so it is stored. You can store it inside the environment, inside the test, or inside the top. It's up to you. But that class must be above driver and monitor. Okay, so now this is stored here. Now in the driver class, see, I'm using get method. In which name it is stored? It is stored in mem intf name. So I am using get method plus mem intf. So now this intf value, now it will be assigned to mem VIP. So wherever I am using this variable, this points to this variable now. So it is like I am storing it. Next here I am getting it. Set get. So now this set method you have to use inside a top class. This get method you have to use inside the bottom class.
You said we can declare the get set method anywhere above that driver
Above,
class
yes,
object.
yes.
Okay, so how will the driver will know that it is declared in environment or test?
See, it will search. Okay, now see, here I have stored using this mem intf. Now in the get method, I am using same name. So it will search in the database whether with this name any value is stored or not. If it is not stored, okay, so see here what I have given, if this condition is satisfied, then nothing. Else it will give you UVM fatal. So this will return 0. If this get method returns 0, that means the value it is not stored. So I can write in the else but fatal. That means whenever this value it is not stored, it will give me a fatal error. If you are not writing anything here, then you will not be able to know whether the value is stored or not. There is another function exists, EXISTS. Using that one also you can check whether that value is exists or not. Just 1 minute. Exist function was here. this function, UVM config db exists. So now here you have to give this name, the dummy name. So if it exists, it will return you 1. If it does not exist, then it will return you 0.
What is this dummy name and why we are using it?
Dummy name, see, this is the actual name. Now I have to store it with a name, right?
Okay.
So this name. So in which name you have stored, in the same name you have to search.
Search.
Okay.
And in
Understood?
this get method, that memory mem virtual interface will be
Here see,
will be
there are
given.
okay. Actually, they may be asking you what are the 4 values are there here. You can see 4. There are 4 fields in the UVM config DB. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the interview question. What are the 4 values in the UVM config DB? 4 fields. Okay.
And we have started recording.
Yes, I am recording these things. Why?
Okay, for me it is also showing you can also record. So I thought, okay, now.
Yeah, it is recording. You can record. I don't think you can record this thing.
It's coming like you can record. Please ask the host. Okay, it is asking.
That's
Host.
what I'm saying. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So what are the 4 fields that are here? Okay. See, the 4 fields are this one. UVM component context, string instance name.
Maybe your screen is not visible.
My screen
Only
is
that.
not. It is not visible.
Only that Zoom screen is coming.
Okay, sorry. Okay, now it is visible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So what are the 4 fields in the UVM config DB? So these are, first one is 4 fields. UVM component context. Second one is string. You have to remember these things. Okay. String instance name. Third one is string field name. This is the dummy name, you can say. The name which I am storing the values. It's like, you are a human type, but Vaibhav is your dummy name, like this. I am storing a string data type. That string data type has some name. So I have to store it with that name. Okay. So next one is T value. Or field value, I can say. This is the actual value. Is the target field or actual field, you can say. Okay. So now, if you are using a set method, so here you can write set null star. Okay. Let total how to store a interface. Okay. UVM config db. This is one class. Go to UVM config db. In that class, use set method. Okay. So, and what is the data type that I am storing? Star virtual interface. Get null star, then intf name, then virtual interface. Okay. So now, what are these 4 fields? See, here it is the type. Let you are storing a integer value. So if you are storing an integer value, then how you have to store it? instead of this integer. Okay, set null star. So here let integer name is count value. Then here count. Here you can declare int count equal to 10. Now these things you have to do inside the top class. Now whatever the class is inside its bottom class, all the class, if they are using get count value, then they will get count equal to 10. Let you want to change this count value, then go to top class and change its value. So now what are these four things? See, here null means you are in the top module. Null, that means you are in the top module. Means there is nothing above it. Okay. So there is nothing in above the top module. Do we have anything? No. So if there is nothing above it, then you can use null. So normally we use null whenever you are setting something in the top module. Let you are setting something in the environment, then use this. This means inside this class. Setting something inside any class. If you are using this config db set method inside a class, then use this. This means this is the UVM component context. So this means the UVM component, it is a class. Null means it is the top module. Okay. So now what is this star means? Star means any class below the UVM context can use the variable using get method. Any class, let you want to restrict the use. So here instead of star, let I am writing simple my adder driver. That means first thing, this adder driver only can use the variable using get method. Here I am restricting. Let I am simple writing adder star. So star means any class name like adder, here any name can use the variable using get method. So here means I am giving the instance name, or you can say the hierarchical path. If I am using star means all the classes can use it. If I am particularly writing one instance name, then only that class can use it. If I am writing like this means adder, then star. Here it can be any name. That class can use the variables. So this is all about your set method, and this is the dummy name, this is the actual name. This will be stored in this value. So null means it is stored in the top module. This means it is stored inside a class. Star means any class below this can get it. Understood about this one? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now similarly in get you have set method also. Sorry, this is the set. Okay. Now you have get method. Get means you will be getting the values. Okay. So now what is the scope resolution operator? So scope resolution operator means go to UVM config db class. Inside this class, the static method set. How can you say that it is a static method? It is a static method because I am using the scope resolution operator. If you have remembered, we can use static variable as well as static methods outside of a class using the class name and scope resolution operator. I don't have to create any object for it. So now why it is a static method? Because the value should be same for all classes. If it is not a static method, then you will be setting some value in environment, you will be getting some different value in the driver and monitor. The values would be same, so that's why it is a static method. If someone is asking you how can you say that same value I'll be getting, obviously I'll be getting because I'm using a static method. Static method means whatever the value inside it, all are static. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now in set, there I have something like get method. So here instead of set, use get. Here instead of null, use this. Because whatever the values I will be getting, I will be getting inside a class. So inside a class means it is this only. Okay, so here you can use this. But in set method, you can use null as well as you can use this. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay, so now here I am using star and here I am just using this symbol. So what is mean by this symbol? Here star means all the classes below it can use it. And here this symbol means search for the variable in all the classes above present class. Let you are writing it inside a driver class, then it is going to search in all classes above driver class. So this means search in the up or in the above, and this means below all the classes can access it. Understood? This is the only difference. And here you are using this because get method I have to use inside the class because I have only one module, that is the top module. Top I cannot get anything because there is nothing above top. So from where I am going to get anything. So whatever I will be getting either inside the test or environment or driver, all these are classes. So I have to use this here. In the set method, if you are setting in the top, use null. If you are setting inside any class, then use this. Okay, here I can use this also.
How it will know that this is the class above me or something?
Here this symbol means it is going to search in all the classes above class. Now the question is how it is going to know, because in UVM everything is predefined. So it is also predefined, that means they have written in such manner that tool will come to know that agent is inside the environment class. Environment is inside the test class. Or test, it is top class of environment. Agent, it is the top class of driver and monitor. Tool can know it. Okay.
Okay.
So now this is all about your UVM config DB. Okay, here there are two methods, get and set method, and there are another method, that is exit method, to check whether the variable is exits or not. Okay, so just go through this document. I'll be sending this one. Okay, just go through the UVM config DB and see how I have written the code. Just watching the code, try to write it because syntax is also important. Okay. So here get method, exist method, and wait modified. Wait modified means it means whatever the values it can modify. Context instance field value. So now these things, either whether it is get method or set method, I have to write it inside the build fetch. Why inside the build fetch? Because build fetch, it is the first fetch. So if I want to use any component, any variable, I should get it first. Then I should go any other fetches. So that's why you should be writing it inside the build fetch. Now you can see how I have written here. Just go through this code once. Syntax is very, very important. So you have to go through it. Okay. So if it is not present, then it is going to give you whatever you are writing here in the else part. it will show that one. Okay, because these things, it is a method. Set, get, all these are method. So if it is satisfied, condition is satisfied, it will return 1, else it will return 0. So get a clear idea about this config DB.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now the next point is, what is the difference between UVM component and UVM object? See, you have to remember all those things. Okay, so UVM component means
It will be
it is available
present
throughout the simulation. Yeah.
after the sim also.
After the build phase, it is available throughout the simulation. Okay. So it is always connected to the DUT through, or not DUT, or you can say connected to the hardware, either through interface. Through interface means it is like monitor and driver, or through TLM port. That means this TLM port, it is only useful for the component, not for the object. So here your config DB can be used. Next, phase mechanism available. Now, so coming to UVM object. So this UVM sequence item and UVM sequence, these two are the object. Okay, so it is dynamic in nature. It is, you can say, quasi-static or semi-static, not static, semi-static. If it is static means your module, it is a static component. Your component, it is a quasi-static. And it is the dynamic. Okay, so dynamic means what? Create when required, transfer from one component to another component, okay, no phase mechanism, and not connected to hardware. Remember these things. So definitely it is like common asked interview questions. Difference between UVM component and UVM object. Okay. Next question is difference between create. See, whatever the things I am teaching today, just go through this today only. Difference between create and new method. This you can tell, I guess, Vaibhav, difference between create and new method.
Yes, so new is like just creating that instance of the memory for that variable or class variable, and create is like we are creating the memory for that variable, plus we are registering it to the factory.
Okay. Allocating memory to class instance, or you can say object. The create method, it is like new method plus factory overriding. Okay. So create method, it stores the instance. Okay, so factory overriding is here. So factory overriding means at the runtime, you can override the instance, changing the class type or overriding the values. So this can be available if you are using the create method. So what is the syntax for create? Object 1 is equal to my class name,
Type
then
ID.
type ID. So what do you mean by this type ID?
I have to create then.
Then create, then here name. This is optional. Whatever the name you can write here, this is optional, but this should be your object name. So type ID means this is the singleton class.
I have to ask what
Singleton class means at a
Ask them.
time, only one instance of this class can be active. If it is disconnected, then connect again. Okay. Means my class, okay, at a time, let you are creating 3 objects, object 1, object 2, object 3. So at a time, either object 1 or object 2 or object 3 can be active. The three, both, all the 3 cannot be active at a time. At a time, only one class can be active.
One class means which class?
One object of that class.
Okay.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so now here, okay, create new completed. Okay, now coming to sequence item. There are some inbuilt methods that is available in the UVM object class. What are those methods? Create, copy, clone, print, pack, unpack, like this. Okay. So now the question is difference between copy and clone method. What is the difference between these two?
Yes, ma'am. In clone, that we are creating then copying, like an
Yes.
instance, one more instance
Copy
of that.
means simple copy. Clone means create plus copy. Okay, just remember all the syntax. Okay, so now what are the steps to write sequence item? Any class. Okay, so first you have to extend it from extend user sequence item from UVM sequence item. Next, do the factory registration with or without macro. It's up to you. If you are doing here without macro, then in sequence you have to do with macro. If you are not using macros, then you will not be able to use these methods. Then a default constructor. Then if there is any type of constant, you can use constants. Constant or any methods. Okay, there is another method compare. Okay, so I have extended it from the sequence item. Then this is writing the factory registration with macros, with field macros. Okay, take UVM object utils begin. So take UVM object utils, then this one means it is without macro. This one is with macro. Then the default constructor, then if any constant required, this much. Okay, so you have to go through what are these things. What is UVM all on, what is UVM default, and these methods. Okay, and these methods with their sequence, sorry, with their syntax. Okay, so now this is all about your sequence item. I have completed up to this sequence item. Now coming to UVM sequence. UVM sequence, okay, just disconnect and connect again so that there will be no interruption when I am explaining UVM sequence. Okay.